Hey there, welcome back to my channel. So today I have another big haul for you guys. This is actually kind of a surprising one, maybe for you guys, definitely was even for me. But I had put up a while ago my first ever haul with Fragrance Net. And one of my items, I mean, you guys can go back and check that one. And then obviously then I had a part 2 to that where they sent the right item and all that stuff. So my first experience with them wasn't the best, and I wasn't really planning on putting in, like an order anytime so soon to that. It wasn't a horrible experience. Obviously, everything was rectified. I got the right product and mistakes happen. And from a lot of you, I heard that you'd never really gone through that and that all your orders for, over a decade had been perfectly fine. So I think it's just that first experience made me a little bit more cautious, and just the reality that, it's not as, it doesn't make as much financial sense for me to order and then wait 2 or 3 weeks for it to get to me and the exchange rate, rather than order from the Canadian websites that I always link in the description box. But there is a lot of selection on Fragrance Net that I can't really get elsewhere. So I did tell myself that, if there were specific things that I found there that I couldn't find elsewhere, it was trustworthy enough that I could put in another order and maybe spend a little bit more on the exchange rate, but at least I was getting what I wanted. So happy to report that this experience, my second time, was actually really, really great. Obviously, it's still a lot slower than just in the same country shipping, but that's to be expected, and everything arrived safely and perfect, and yeah, I'm really, really happy. So we will get into it. They are 4 blind buys. They are 4 really, really, I don't know, like really, really anticipated blind buys. And actually, it's not really 4, technically, I suppose it's 10 fragrances to share with you guys, but we'll get into why that is. So I'm going to go in order of what's most anticipated, and we will go through the notes, everything as per usual, and just kind of explore it together, and I'll say the specific stories for each one when we get to them. And yeah, let's get into it. If you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified every time I put out a new video, and let's get started. So the first one I want to talk about is actually the only one that's a tester bottle, and this is what really drew me to getting this one, because this was the only one that I could get from other Canadian websites, but it was sold out for a really long time when I put in the order, and it was actually cheaper to get it through Fragrance Net because they were A, selling it for cheaper, and B, it was the tester bottle. So that's why the box is just normal box, but I don't really mind because I don't really keep my boxes anyways. And this one listed bergamot, lemon, yuzu, grapefruit, green tea, chamomile, jasmine, musk, cologne, and vanilla. And this is what it looks like. It's beautiful. And if you guys don't know, if you haven't been watching my channel, I adore tea scents. This was one of the most recommended and really loved tea fragrances. And from the Guerlain, the Aqua Allegoria range, I did buy the Neroli Bianca for my mom a while ago, so I tried that out. It was nice, but it's kind of like her signature scent now, so I've never actually bought one that's been for me from that range. So this is my first one, and I'm glad I went with this one, but we will see if that is the case, and if I really do like the scent. We'll just spray on the box here. Oh wow, I do want to spray it on my skin as well. This is beautiful. There is something about this that immediately took me to my childhood. I don't know what it is, and I realized I say that quite often, which is not the case for every fragrance, I promise, but there are certain smells that are just so nostalgic for me, and it takes me a while to place why that is. This one is one that I really cannot for the life of me figure out. Maybe it was like, I don't know, a lemon shampoo I had or a place I went, who knows. But this, I definitely get, you know, bergamot, lemon, yuzu, a lot of citrus. It's quite tart, very fresh. There is tea in this, but honestly, and again, this is first impressions and the opening, it's not the strongest tea scent, albeit it's a green tea. It's not, you know, like an oolong or a black tea scent that I have in some of my other tea fragrances, but I find it's very citrus heavy right now. I definitely am getting none of that musk or vanilla, but that's more so in the dry down, I imagine. Yeah, it's a very soft, fresh, citrusy tea fragrance. I don't get, you know, very much florals, honestly. It listed jasmine. I don't really get any of that jasmine yet, at least. But it also, I can see it listed chamomile, and maybe that makes a little more sense. It's definitely an herbal tea scent. It's a light tea scent and strong on the citrus. I really like this. I feel like this is going to be perfect for this time of year, for spring, summer, for very, very hot weather. That's usually when I find my citrus fragrances come alive, but I'm really excited to wear this, see how I feel about it. I know that the Aqua Longoria fragrances as a whole aren't beast mode. That's not really what they were made for. I'm not going to judge it based on that, but I will come back in a second impressions and just say how I found it, how long it actually does last, and what I really think about it. Upon first impression, I do like it. It's really nice, and I love tea as a note enough that I'm happy to have added this to my collection. Then we will get to another one that I'm adding to my collection that's the first from this house. So this is actually Haramain, and it's a Middle Eastern brand. I know this has been kind of going around the rounds on fragrance YouTubers and, you know, just blogs of people having talked about this brand. I never got any from them, and I wasn't super tempted, but I was always kind of interested a little bit to find out more, and I had not seen them on any of our Canadian websites, but I saw this one and I just thought I might as well try one. What I will say is apparently this is supposed to be a dupe for Aventus for her. I can't speak to that comparison. I can't speak to the dupeability of it because I've never smelled that, but it is an interesting box. I mean, for how inexpensive it was, it's a magnetic box, albeit plastic, but still, you know, it's not just cardboard. And the fragrance itself is kind of hard to get out. I can already smell. It's quite strong. I've heard these are beast mode, but I can smell it already just having, honestly, when the box was closed, I could kind of smell it. Opening it already, I can really smell it. So we will see. This is pineapple, wild berries, bergamot, blackcurrant, freesia, rose, cedar, musk, sandalwood, vanilla, and amber. And yeah, it's just kind of like a mirrored bottle, which I feel like, a gold mirrored bottle, obviously, which I feel like I'm already going to get dirty because it just holds on to fingerprints. So we will try to be careful. I guess I'll have to spray this on me because the box is... Okay, so already, first thing I can get straight off the bat is pineapple, and quite a strong pineapple, honestly. And it's like fruity and woody. I definitely get a woody, and not a sweet woody, like a quite prominent woody notes in this. And then the fruitiness is really that pineapple. I'm getting some citrus as well. I guess the bergamot. Maybe berries, but even the berries are quite a woody berry. They're not especially sweet. I'm kind of reminded of the berries that are in Amethyst by Lalique. Not that these are similar, but that was also a green woody take on blackcurrant and berries. And this, while it lists berries and blackcurrant, I'm getting much more of that woodiness. And I feel like this is very much unisex. It really just smells like pineapple and woods right now with a touch of citrus and some berries. I mean, there's sandalwood and cedar, so that makes sense. I don't really get any freesia or rose personally on my nose upon first impressions. Maybe that'll develop a little later in the heart and dry down, but upon first spray, I like it. It's not my favorite. I do think that I need to play around with it a little more because I might totally warm up to it and adore it. I might hate it. This is kind of middle of the ground, but I'm interested to find out more and see how I like it. It's very interesting. It's definitely very interesting. Again, I can't speak to the dupability of it, but it's cool. And I feel like for how inexpensive it was, it's pretty nice packaging. I mean, it's not everyone's cup of tea, but it's at least unique and they tried something different. So definitely will try this one out. I'm excited to have something from the house. You guys know I just like having at least one from each house. I know that's impossible, but I like trying out new houses. So I'm glad I tried out this one, and I definitely don't have anything in my collection that smells like this. I also don't have the one it was duped after. So excited to have that one, and that was my second fragrance. So then we will get to the third one, and this one's really special. So the story around this one is, I don't even know how long ago now. I was reading either a perfume blog or someone's comments on Fragrantica, and they were talking about something else, and they just happened to mention, oh, by the way, this kind of reminds me of so-and-so, which and which, whatever it may have been, from Merchant of Venice. And I had never heard that house before, and I was really intrigued. And so I started going on their website, the Merchant of Venice, and I saw that they were a niche brand and their bottles seemed interesting. It all just seemed pretty cool because I'd never heard of them. I'd never seen them. I'd never even seen other people talk about them. And when I, looked them up on YouTube, they didn't have a lot of presence on there either. And it's not a brand that people really, at least in the circles I've checked, really talk about. And so I kind of always had them at the back of my mind of wanting to own one from that house so that I could say that I've, explored it a little bit and see what they're about. So, that always stayed in the back of my mind. Again, never really saw them pop up anywhere. And then when I was putting in this order, I decided to check to see if FragranceNet had any Merchant of Venice fragrances, and I saw that they had a whole bunch. They didn't have every single one, but they definitely had a whole bunch, and more than I've ever seen anywhere. So I, researched a little bit, and from their selection decided to go with Noble Potion, and this was one I looked up and there were just no video reviews on. So I totally blind bought based on notes alone, which I always do, but I was just so excited to get into this house and explore it. So, okay, I'm seeing it now. This is what it looks like. It opens kind of like a book, and it has a map here of Europe, which is beautiful. And then it's in this own little cushion, which is really nice. And it says this collection of essences speaks to the long journeys from the fascinating cities of the Orient to the enchantment of Venice, the main destination of the ancient Mediterranean routes. Yada, yada, yada. So it keeps going on, and it has the notes in it right here, actually. So I can kind of read the notes off of this cover here and explore it together. So it's not going to be surprising to know why I picked this one, but they all a lot of them have this shape with this kind of mushroom cap, and they have different colors. But note-wise, Noble Potion has violet, bergamot, orange flower, sandalwood, Lebanese cedarwood, and musk absolute. So again, no surprise, I saw violet, immediately I was interested. Then I saw bergamot, my favorite citrus note, orange flower, love, and sandalwood and musk absolute I really like as well. Cedar is nice. I don't know the exact distinction between cedarwood and Lebanese cedarwood, but we will discover it together. And I'll spray right here. Okay, this one, immediately it has a bit of and it's interesting because it's not any of the notes, but upon first spray, it smells like very strong ginger beers. If you've ever had a really strong ginger beer, then you know it kind of sizzles in your nose a little bit, but there's no ginger in here, so that's interesting. And this one's very incensey already. I don't get any violet, personally. It's a lot more spiced than I was expecting. Maybe it's the Lebanese cedarwood, maybe it's the sandalwood, maybe it's the musk, but I definitely get muskiness. I definitely get a more spiced ginger beer kind of scent. It's immediately pretty surprising, I have to say. I thought it was going to be a lot lighter of a fragrance. It's definitely not. Again, I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's definitely strong upon first spray. It almost even has a little bit touch of cinnamon to it, which isn't in the notes either, but it's reminding me of maybe a dash of cinnamon, really strong ginger beer, and some woodiness. And I won't lie, it's not my favorite upon first spray, but I do really like how different it is and how much of a jump it is for me personally. This is a really big jump out of my comfort zone. And I don't know how often I'll wear this, and I don't really know how much I'm gonna like this in the second impressions, but it's interesting. It's weird that the notes I'm picking up aren't really the ones listed. I mean, I don't get any violet or maybe bergamot. I don't get any orange blossom, orange flower. I really get woodiness, ginger beer, and a dash of cinnamon. Yeah, I feel like the cinnamon's even getting stronger now. Anyways, I feel like what I'm smelling is a lot more reminiscent of the colors of the bottle. It looks like, you know, ginger beer and cinnamon and spiced, and yeah. Anyways, that is, what is it? Noble Potion by the Merchant of Venice. And I really like the box. So I will come back with second impressions on that one as well. But yeah, really interesting. Very, very out there, for me at least. So the last item is actually the really special one that even led me to purchasing all these fragrances, and it has a special story attached to it. So if you guys don't know already, I love Iris, and for a long time, for many years now, I've been obsessed with the collection by Prada, Les Infusions d'Iris, and then all their other flankers around it. I just love them. They were always fragrances that I would spray and wear. I would, you know, try them out in Saks or in the Bay, and I would never purchase them, and I didn't really know why. And then when they had all their other flankers that were kind of inspired by one note, I even saw that they had this set where you could try all 7 in these little 8 ml bottles. So I never picked it up in store, but I always thought about it, and then I saw it so reduced on Fragrance Net that I thought I better just grab it now, finally try them. And usually I'm a full bottle person, but in this case, it was more important to me to have all of them and be able to kind of try them all and review them all than to just get 1 or 2 in the full bottle. So this is the full set. It's called Les Infusions de Prada. And on the back here, it has all 7. So it has obviously Iris, it has Iris Cedre, which is Iris Cedar, it has Fleur d'Oranger, Orange Blossom, Amande, which is almond, Oeillet, which is carnation, Vetiver, and Mimosa. And this is what it looks like. So I'm gonna probably keep them in the box because they're so sweet. They're so cute in these little 8 ml bottles. And we will just kind of discover them together. So they are in glass bottles, but I will say that they come in this kind of cardboard encasing. And to try them on camera for you guys, I'm going to take off their cardboard for each one just so I can really smell it. And the only bad thing about them, really, is that they are dabber bottles. And if you don't know, I hate dabber bottles, but it's worth it. It's worth it for this. And I can always kind of decant them in my little spray bottles. Yeah, no, this is stunning. This is the regular Iris one, so I've smelled this one. I've actually smelled all of them once in store, so I definitely, these aren't necessarily blind buys, but I forget a lot of them. So this one I'm probably the most familiar with, just the regular Iris. And I think on the side it has some of its notes. So this one has Iris, Mandarin, Neroli, Cedar, Vetiver, Galbanum, and benjoin, and then it has incense as well, and it is slightly incensey, but again, you know, it's really highlighting the iris, and I think it does a beautiful job of iris. And then we get into the second one, which is Iris Cedre, so cedar wood for this one. And if I could just get it open for here, and this one lists Iris, Cedar, Neroli, Mandarin, Vetiver. Oh, this one has the same. I think they're all going to say the same, but basically they're just highlighting different notes to it. And maybe I won't even need to dab them, really. Might have to dab this one. Okay, this one is a little bit more masculine smelling. It's more woody and stronger on the incense than just the regular Iris. It smells very similar, but it's stronger and it seems more masculine, more woody, and definitely more incensey. So I like both. I think this one's maybe a little bit better for winter, fall, winter. That one's spring, summer. But in general, they were pretty similar, and I really like both because I knew I would. I mean, I'm gonna like all of these really. And then the third one is Fleur d'Oranger, and if I'm not mistaken, this one I really did like a lot. I love orange blossoms, so it's kind of a no-brainer, but we will open this one together. Yeah, this one's very distinctly different. Those two were pretty similar. This one's really beautiful. It's a lot fresher. It's not incensey. I'm wondering if the notes on the side of this one say anything. Yeah, so this one has neroli, mandarin, orange blossom, tuberose, and jasmine. Maybe it's that tuberose. It's almost bubblegummy. Not really, but it's a really beautiful tuberose, and I love it. I knew I would love this one. This one's one of the ones I liked the most when I was trying them all in store, the full bottles, so love that. And then we will get to the fourth one, which is, let me see if I can get it out here, which is Amande. So that's almond. Oh, this one was one of my favorites too. Almond is a note I adore, one of my favorite notes of all time. And the notes on this one are almond, heliotrope, mandarin, tonka bean, and musk. And so I just know it's gonna be, oh, it's so beautiful. I'm gonna try to use different fingers for each one, but yeah, this one's definitely almondy. It's powdery as well. I find the heliotrope makes it a little bit more powdery and I don't know, ozonic. It's very clean. It's very, very clean. And the almond's beautiful in this. This one, I think for now, is my favorite. I thought it was gonna be orange blossom, but until now, this one is my number one, and then the orange blossom is my number two. The original Iris and Iris Cedre are classics, but if I'm really putting them in order, then this is how it stands. But we'll go through all of them and then I'll pick favorites at the end. So the fifth one, if I can get it out here, is Oeillet. So that's Carnation. So I don't remember this one. I know Carnation tends to be slightly more spicy. And this one, the notes on it are sandalwood, styrax, patchouli, mandarin, spices, and musk. So we will see. Yeah, I can already smell in the bottle. It's quite spicy. This has a touch, it doesn't smell like this, but it does have a touch of the same kind of carnation that's in Eternity by Calvin Klein. It's spiced as well, and the spices in this are actually kind of similar to the spices in my Merchant of Venice that I just tried. It's definitely spiced. It's definitely more fall winter. It's the richest so far. It's even richer and more incensey than the Iris Cedre, I feel. But yeah, this one's interesting. Again, not my top, but we'll go through all of them and put them in order. And then the second last one is Vetiver. Usually I like Vetiver, so we will explore this one. I kind of forget Vetiver. I remember Almond and Orange Blossom I loved. I also, it's not in here, but I remember I liked the Rose one as well. Oh, this one's very nice. This one also is a little bit more masculine, but unisex, honestly. Beautiful vetiver, very woody as well. This one, the notes are vetiver, ginger, neroli, bergamot, lime, mandarin, and rose. Yeah, it's definitely citrusy. It's definitely gingery, and I really do like it. I like it. It's not standout favorite, but I definitely like it, and it's a little more unisex, which is nice. And then finally we have Mimosa. I realize they don't have rose in here, but I know I've smelt the rose one, and that one's nice as well. Mimosa, one of my favorite notes that I've really just recently actually gotten into. So Let me see if I can, oh, even in the bottle it's nice. Let's put it on my, it's beautiful. This one, the Mimosa in here is very reminiscent of Love Mimosa. I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. Yeah, this one's stunning. Let me see. The notes in this are just anise, mimosa, rose, and mandarin. Very simple, very clean, very fuzzy, but totally love. And that was a great collection. I'm so happy to have picked them up. Yeah, really, really loved them. And if I had to put them in order, my top 3 would be Orange Blossom, Almond, and Mimosa. And then bottom 4 would be, my middle of the road would be the Vetiver and Iris and Cedre. My least favorite is the Carnation, just because it's a little bit more spicy than I'm looking for in an Iris-centric fragrance. And those are, yeah, those were all of them. So I like to put them in order as I usually do. So that was the order for these. But out of the 3 that were full bottles, my number 1 spot has to go to Teazzura. I really am happy with it. And I just feel like I'm going to get a lot of use out of it this spring and summer. My number 2, it's difficult. I'm going to respray or resmell these. I'm torn. They're pretty equal for me because they're both ones that I have to try a little more. I would say, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but now having smelled more of their Heart Dry Down, I prefer the Merchant of Venice one a little bit more, honestly, than the Haramain. The Haramain is nice, but if I had to pick a favorite, this one's still one I have to kind of explore. I was expecting it to be a little bit sweeter than it actually is, but there you have it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.